Alright, we are recording, and as it shows, going medieval. Why am I back in this? Because it has reached version 1.0. Unfortunately, this just opens up a link, so I can't show you patch notes here. But yeah, lots and lots of changes. For that reason, actually gonna start a new game. What are some of the changes on this? Alright, I want to keep it peaceful. I don't want to have to deal with raiders, and also, having looked through the patch notes, because I had to write them up for the news, the one thing that would be most important to me is not painfully here. And I also just remembered, I do need to say, the key was originally provided by Tinsley PR. That was back in 2021 when it first entered early access. That's how long this has been in early access. So, yeah, actually don't need that. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Because this is among the changes. Well, it's supposed to be peaceful. I'll turn that off anyway. Mood, settler mood, enemy hit points. Again, that they're not supposed to be here anyway. Okay, there. I hate blighted crops. I'm sorry, but the fact that you can't just tell them, or at least you couldn't. I don't recall seeing anything in there. Can't just say, hey, wipe out all this, all the blight. You have to go through and be like, nope, get the, hey, you, come over here, cut that, hey, you, over here, cut that, hey, you, over here, cut that. The fact you don't have emergency responses, it's just, nope, not dealing with that. This is new, which might impact me because I like building cellars. That is possible for them to be flooded. There are solutions. Okay, it's not really saying much there. Because it describes it in the notes. You can put up walls within to keep it out. Apparently there's now, like, mesh flooring to let the... I mean, maybe they're referring to the, oh, crap. There's wicker flooring that you can, like... Don't remember what the name was. But where, yeah, things will go through. So you can use that to let it drain down. They also mentioned you might be able to use a well, so that water can be removed. I don't trust that. I don't trust wells. I think that the wells were poorly made to begin when they were first put in. Didn't see anything that changing. Animal infestations? Oh, I'll leave it. Alright. Yeah, the uneven terrain is kind of annoying, but I do actually like this. Although, is it not possible to also have a river here? I'm just trying... Because this would basically force me to have to build over here. But it looks like most of the stuff I'd want, like, because iron is over here. Oh, there. This'll work. I like this one. Because yeah, it looks like iron is mostly down there, but I got some up here. Clay over here. So, okay, well, wait, grass. Okay, and soil. And salt. So yeah, this actually looks decent. Let's go with this one. I don't care. Can I... There. Just so that they all have the same religious alignment. Anyway, so for a while my plan was when this would reach 1.0, I would said, okay, I'm gonna do a review, do the full version 1.0 review. Except I have moved on with doing other things in my life, and in fact, just this week started a review on something else that's not for Overclock's Club. Sorry, book review. Yeah, I don't really have time for it, but I'm gonna at least want to do this video. And I also do want to see mainly one thing. Okay, it is still like this, not happening. I'm not doing a review. I guess that... I hate this. If you go back at the 116, this is part 117. This is the... I have such a hatred for this system. It should not be that. This is such a mess. It makes... True, they have changed some stuff. Maybe some of this is better. I'm going to go with it's not better, though, just looking at it, because it's just so absurd. I mean, look at how wide this is, and you have 5+1 options. No, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm just... Actually, no. Yeah, technically I should have that up high. Okay, but they did change this up to make things a lot easier to use. So you can do that. Sit in here and... here we go. Okay, I'm okay, now I see. Alright, yeah, I guess that makes some sense. So, I don't like this UI for it, though. I really don't like it. Because it took me way too long to figure this out. It should be... Okay, so how this system works, one of the changes that they made is you can now set it so they will automatically change their apparel to match the season. Okay? So the way this is set up is by default, they wear winter clothes. However, yearly override is turned on. So from the 6th day of spring to the 7th day of autumn, they will put on summer clothes. It's like, okay, that makes some sense. But it's still, I'd much prefer if it were hey, here's a view of the calendar year. And you can select regions, you can change them by clicking and dragging that. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to change this setting. Although I actually can't, can I? Yep. But you can change that, and that's how you select. So have it be more like this. Right? Yeah, have it be something more like this, where you can just say, hey, in this period, wear these clothes. In this period, wear those clothes. That would, I think, make much more sense, be much more approachable than this. That's default and then change. Because it's also, this isn't even labeled as something like that. It's just yearly override. It's... By being on the right like this, it seems equal, but it's not. This would be layered on top. So yeah, this is a very poor UI for that. Okay, that's still this. I mean, I get that you're kind of stuck with this, but still, it's like this is so... You get the different appearances over here. I get that, but it's still, this is a different thing. Alright. However, there is one change that they have done that I saw in the notes, which... There. Isn't this nice? So... Oh, aw, man! No, it shouldn't be like that. It should not be like that. Well, anyway. So here, what this is now we can tell it, hey, like here's a dead tree, I want that cut. This is a mature tree, so don't include that. Actually, hang on, where am I on the map? Okay, so there's the there's the river. Okay, here we go. Or wait, no. Okay, no, this is the orientation that I saw before. So where are my people? Okay, they're over there. Okay, so if I build up here, that will make sense. That'll work. Okay. Where did I tell? Okay, it's up here that they're to chop. Okay, so that works out fine. Let's harvest here. Now that. Yeah. Let's also. I don't remember how big I want to make things. Although that's true. I got 4 people. Okay. Furniture. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. There. There. The graded floors. That's what I was thinking about with the, in theory, stuffing water can drain through. I don't really care if you want to say that or not. Right, there. Oh wait, I should also put in windows, actually. Alright. Get to it. Oh, I do need to do that, though, as well. Now... do that. Very high. Actually, no, I do want that on low. And there's a reason I'm doing it. By having that low, I don't need to worry so much about later when I do put in new ones. Yeah. When I start putting in a new stockpile, they will, this will be, effectively decommissioned. So. Okay, so... yeah, I'll just let it go. Because once this is done, don't have to worry about it too much. There. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Okay, so they believe they've run out of sticks. It's not going to be true once they start cutting things, which actually, yeah, let me look. So, cut is now limited to just plants. Chop for just trees, presumably. It designates trees to be chopped down. But cut plants... cutting down plants and chopping trees. Notice, see, this is why, this is such a mess. Such a goddamn mess. So, yeah, it's... cut plants. You think that that's... nope, chop is part of it as well. This is the thing I've been advocating for. actually sure if that's the correct way to put it. Was that this should be broken down, because it's like, okay, cutting plants is part of botany, right? So it should be then that there's a botany job here, and then within that you said, so that way everything that has to do with botany is handled in one. You can say, hey, you're really good at botany, you do all this stuff, and then prioritize in there. It's like, okay, you do the cutting, you do the chopping, you do the harvesting, and so on. It's also, yeah, like this. And it's also, look at this. Botany is all the way over, harvest is over here. Row over here. We got animal husbandry, which is animal handling, mining, and then we get back to botany again. I hate it. There's also the issue that, with cut plants covering both, okay, what are they going to prioritize? Harvesting? Oh, wait, no, sorry. Harvesting is over here. So then actually, if I want them to start cutting those things down, I'm going to have to do that. Oh, yeah, turn that on. Team overlay. There we go. That on. Okay. Okay. Oh, cool. It's actually connecting those for me. Good. Oh, that's good. It's remembering that. Who was that? Here. Okay. 3, 5, 6, 7. Is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. That's what I want. That there. That there. There. That should be fine. Alright, yes. I'm just sleeping over there. Kind of funny. Furniture, torches. Yeah. Okay, something like that. Oh, yeah. Forget about that. Alright. So it looks like all we really have left is harvesting here. Beds are important enough. Go. I really do want them to get that so they stop with the meal preparation. I know I need to build a research table one thing at a time. There we go. Okay. Yep. Oh, yeah. I have no idea if you use the right one, dude. It's just let's get them in there. I think, yeah, we've got also this guy. Do I have? Hang on. Overview. Domesticated. Okay, so it's just. Okay, it's just those 2 goats. Perfect. Which. Yes, they are domesticated. They're not pets, and I don't want to make them pets. That'll get confusing. Because pets can just freely walk through doors, and yeah, that'll just get annoying. Okay. Put that down. Seems to think I need more sticks. The heck is this? Oh, burnt. Okay. Didn't even know that was a thing. Next. Now that there. Stuff, well, I'd like to say stuff will get moved around, but honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna really return and keep doing much of this in the future. Okay, yeah, joyful. Nope. Pick that up. I think I might need to start cutting down mature. I do wish that this, you could select more than one. It's like mature and dead. Once I get the research table, then I can actually do research. There. Agriculture is also very much worth unlocking. And terraforming will also be good. Things have to wait some. Just see what is. There's a lot down here that I don't care about. You know, agriculture is super helpful because it can do things like this. Alright, I'll build them up. Actually, like that. Yes, that's another thing. You can actually now change when they are sowed. There. Where's some of these it's saying no to? There. Okay, just because it's rocky soil. Oh, that's annoying. But it is what it is. Okay, so... Hey, being able to work with dirt is actually very nice. Furniture will be nice as well. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll be good, too. But, for now, I'd like to get two. Waste should not be here. You know what? Neither should be carcasses, though I don't think I have to worry too much about that. There, and I will just make a dumping pile and just go over here. Nope. Do not include animal. Alright, there. Once I get terraforming, I will be able to like take out this rocky soil and put in different soil. I want to start building a cellar to actually store this stuff because it'll be easy to keep that stuff safe. It's just it needs it just cellars get weird. You know what then actually let's I may still put the wall there. Okay, so that and then that. guess technically it should be like that. There, there. Okay. Yep. Wow, that actually even... Oh wait, no, that one didn't. Okay, there. It did seem like some of these were actually handling the positions correctly. I know it's been a while. I don't know if anyone... Well, I also don't know how much anyone would care. But when I have worked on, like, in the other saves, what I like to do, ultimately, I can't do it here just yet, is I will take these things, the zones for different plants, and I will actually put that, I'll put up a ceiling to it. Technically it's a floor, but it's a graded floor, so the rainwater can come through, but it'll still stop things like hail, and also let sunlight get through, so it protects them, but it's just, I'll need to build things up. I also like making up cellars, because temperature tends to be better, and it's also, once you dig out the cellar, you know that, and you need to put down a floor, which really helps with this stuff not decaying. But yeah, temperature and the fact that it'll have a roof over it, dirt, but still a roof, proves very helpful as well. So it's also... There we go. And I'm gonna do it here, and it'll dig down that way. And then at this level is when I will start having a cellar. Which actually, let me... These can go up to how long? I don't remember. We'll find out. Because you do need to brace it so that things don't just collapse. Don't care. Oh, yeah. That... But every... What is everybody? Oh, here. Oh, brother. Okay. There, so that way they'll be able to do that stuff. Can that message please go away? I'd like to be able to read the UI. Thank you. Let's actually do that. Harvest is also important. That. I guess, yeah, that's actually mining. That's what I need here. But I want them to... Oh, not enough material. Got it. Okay, that... So that's mature. I think it only recently became mature, though. Yeah, because that's growing. Oh, yeah, duh. I just realized, how long have I been going? I've not talked about any of the news, aside from this. Sorry, it did absolutely take my attention. And, of course, the most important thing from this week, and I did really mean to talk about it, I just then got very sidetracked when I saw that this got its update. DLSS 5 was announced, and boy, has that set things off. And all I can really think on that is NVIDIA screwed up. I'm sorry, but some of this, it's not a good idea what they're doing there. But it's also, I think everyone should have seen this coming years ago. Alright, so to explain, for anyone who's unsure, not familiar with what's going on. NVIDIA announced DLSS 5, which, what it does, they claim that it's, it's AI, like the rest of the, well, it's trained neural networks, like the rest of DLSS. But it will take an image and change it. Essentially, it applies a very intelligent filter to try to make it more photorealistic, and by adjusting materials. So it would, for example, change the appearance of the dirt here to look more like dirt, assuming it recognizes that it is dirt. We're assuming that it knows that, or changes wood to look more like wood. Okay. And I'm sorry, but DLSS has that it's hallucinating details to begin with. This is the same kind of thing, right? And hallucination is the correct term for it as well, in case anyone was uncertain. And looking at their images from their blog post, NVIDIA's blog post, I don't like it, because a lot of it the style of, like, especially faces changes a lot. The apparent age on faces changes a lot. Yeah, I do not see how that can be considered an improvement. But it also provoked a lot of responses as far as what does this mean for the work of artists and such. And it does say in the blog post, the NVIDIA blog post, the formal announcement there, that developers have access to different ways to control it and such. And it's like, yeah, that sounds nice, but so I just no. For what I'm doing here, I don't want it that way. But I'm actually, no, maybe it sounds nice, but you claim that this will help developers realize their vision, help artists realize their vision. That I take as just bold-faced lie. I mean, well, no, I shouldn't put it that way. Forgive me. Lie is not right. It is false, though. In my opinion, it's absolutely and unequivocally false for a very obvious reason. I just want to finish this stuff. There. There. There's the window. And I do also want torches in here. That should be enough. Okay. Yeah, so the claim that, this is going to help artists realize their visions, no, it's not. Because this is a post-processing effect. This is done like this is right now how these look. Although the water's kind of throwing it off. This is the artistic. This is what the artist decided on, right? The idea that you could have then that this new post-processing effect is there. It's like, oh, but it's AI and it's going to do its own intelligently. It's like, no, that doesn't hold water with me. Because if that were the actual vision the artists had, they would put it into the base assets. Okay? Like, if it's it's adding the appearance of subsurface scattering. In like it's making. It would be nice if it were daytime, but it would be like adding more random noise to the soil here, so that it doesn't look like it's just a sheet of brown. So if it does that, I mean, if DLSS 5 does that, it's like, oh well, that was the original intention of the artist. It's like, then the artist would just put that in. They might use AI. I don't care if they want to use AI to accelerate their work, as long as it's still them making the decisions as to how it's happening and all that. That's fine with me. It's like if they use it as a tool, cool. If they're just doing it so they're not doing the work, that's where I have a problem. Okay, good. Need to put down torches. There. Okay, now. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, actually, yeah, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's the right distance. We'll see. But yeah, so as I was saying, it just, to me, it doesn't. If that's the artistic intention, they would make it that way. Then you wouldn't need DLSS 5. Okay, just the developers should then be just looking at DLSS 5 and say, oh yeah, I do like that. Okay, now we're gonna make the base thing like that. It makes that claim is just so false. It's false because it doesn't hold up to that kind of basic logic there. It would be like, because I've written books, right? It would be like trying to claim that somebody else coming in and putting together an annotated version of one of my books and also changing the content of it as well, doing edits, even if it is more or less consistent, but doing that and then claim that, oh, well, this is what the author's original intention was. It's like, no, it's not. The original intention is what I wrote. Now, maybe somebody else's edits, maybe somebody else's annotations I agree with. That's possible. But that doesn't mean that it is the actual original intention. If it were, I would just do that myself then. So no, I just... It seems a combination of two things. One is a fumble on NVIDIA's part, thinking that because this is something we can do, therefore we should do it. And also, it is concerning to me because of how this can enable laziness, which I already believe is a problem in game development today. Because you look at The Witcher 3, you look at Just Cause 3, and I'd actually prefer to talk about Just Cause 3 in this case, in that is still a good-looking game, and it runs very well. It was well optimized back then. What's the last game you can think of today, modern game, that was that you can say was well optimized? Can you even say that? Yeah, I need to come up with a bridge. And it's just we have entered into there's cycles to development and also hardware, which was funny. Where was that I saw something talking about how NVIDIA's gonna change and gonna separate out its compute and gaming GPUs. It's like, yeah, like they've done before. It is funny to me, and I know I've talked about this before. AMD and NVIDIA swap back and forth. Like whenever AMD has a GPU architecture and a compute architecture that are separate, NVIDIA is on the opposite, where it's a single thing one architecture does it all. And then they flip, where NVIDIA then has a GPU, a gaming focus and a compute focused architecture, two separate architectures, and then AMD unifies. And what's happening? NVIDIA is going to be separating because they've been unified. Crap. I'm trying to. Ampere, I think, was when they first unified. Well, when they unify in the current unification, I think that's when it started. That Pascal was the last true gaming focused GPU from the architecture from them. I think that's the case. But then AMD separated to RDNA and CDNA. Well, AMD is working on UDNA. We don't know when that's coming, but that's a unified architecture that will be both gaming and compute. And now NVIDIA split. It's just anyhow. But we have been in good time for a while as far as, except for ray tracing, which I have a conspiracy theory about. Actually, yeah, that's true. Okay. So it's got to be one shorter than this. Now, can I just, how be. Thank you for not giving me the information I need, which is what is the maximum length? So that I'm... Okay, here we go. Has a maximum range of 10 grid spaces. Okay. So... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, okay. There. There. And it's 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, okay. Oops. There. So I'll be able to put another beam down here, and then all this can be emptied out, and I have a cellar. And actually, these I want to move. There. Oh, sorry, I think I accidentally clicked out. There. But yeah, so anyway, just like we've had the bouncing back and forth from both of them for game focus and compute focus, we also have times when there's more focus on optimization, and then, hey, we don't need to optimize the hardware's powerful enough. DLSS and the like, and I can blame DLSS because it was the first of them, has been hurting that tremendously. Because why should a developer optimize when so many gamers can just hit a magic button that now, yeah, it changes the quality of the image, sometimes substantially. And we can just, they can just hit that. Now, I don't need to optimize. I don't need to make sure that this performs well. That's doing it. It is so frustrating. And this isn't going to help that. DLSS 5, because then it's like, yeah, it looks like crap. But when you turn on this magic button, now it looks okay. So I'm just going to stop working on it and just trust that everyone is going to have a GPU that has that magic button, that supports that magic button. and it's just not going to be. I mean, you also seen that with the multi-frame hallucination, the multi-frame generation, which they are hallucinating frames. That is the correct technical term for them. Because, like, you know, why should we bother with actually trying to hit 60 frames per second when, well, if they can just get, you know, 40, this will just punch it up to 120. Yeah, it's not going to feel like it's 120. It's going to feel like it's 40 or lower. But still, it's like, yeah, we can just cheat and do that. So, no, you can't. Oh, man, it's just... It's so frustrating. But at least with DLSS 5, I do think that is going to sufficiently piss people off. That... Well, it does seem like it is pissing people off. That maybe people will stop being so tolerant of this, this behavior. And are going to start saying, hey, no, we actually do want, actually, no, I do kind of, and be like, hey, you know, we're actually going to start demanding that they look good and perform well. But, I mean, to put another way, I do believe that if NVIDIA were to decide to bring back the GTX brand, which is basically without the ray tracing cores, without the, I'm trying to remember what they're calling the cores that do the tensor cores. That's it, tensor cores. If they cut that out, so the GPU can now be smaller, and potentially then run, well, be cheaper, maybe run faster, but do all that, use less power, they'd sell. They would sell. In fact, they might even sell very well, which would probably scare NVIDIA because the whole, wait a minute, we actually need to keep offering this stuff instead of RTX. Yeah. Oh, no, come on. There we go. There we go. I actually don't want it to be everything here. Some of them don't decay, so it's not worth bringing those down. Don't think coal can. None of those can. If it can decay, I want it down here. Kind of how that works. But yeah, no, I do. Maybe the people will start waking up, and that's. I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see what ends up happening. What happens with that? It's not launching until fall. DLSS 5 is not launching until fall. We'll see what happens then. That still just needs floor beneath it. But once that's there, then the hay won't never decay. Well, okay, yeah, technically I do need to worry about temperature a little bit. Oh yeah, I need to do that, don't I? But yeah, it's just... We're not in the better times for gaming. really don't think we are. And it's mainly because too many developers are just able to be lazy. Either because the raw performance is so good that they don't need to optimize. Sorry. Because of magic buttons that they don't need to optimize. But also, I think because of the consolidation that... Hey, I need to get a drink of water. Let me just mute myself. Okay, it paused instead of muted, but in some ways that's better. Since I was already clicked outside the window, the game was paused, but anyway. Oh, good. Nope, can't get terraforming yet. I don't really want that. Yeah, that is not true. It will decompose. Like if it's raining, I guess it's just got enough stuff going for it that it's not going to at the moment. Yeah, that's right. The consolidation of engines, because like, everything is just going to Unreal Engine or Unity. Sorry, I need to clear my throat again. And that means then that you're just seeing Unreal Engine settings. You're just seeing Unity settings. You're seeing them just imports and just... I mean, true, this is different-ish. But you'll just see the defaults from those. And it's so frustrating to see because partly it's I'm old enough to remember. Get off my lawn. Yeah, partly it is I'm old enough to remember games where, yeah, it was using an engine made by the developers for that game. And so you'd see innovation there because, hey, we can do this stuff. Because we're already building, we can just build it to do this. Like, that used to be how this stuff was made. I'm not sure. I think this actually is a bespoke engine as well. I'm not certain. But see other games where they do that, and then, like here, if you look at the Talos Principle and Talos Principle 2, Talos Principle, Crow Team was using their own Crow engine. And there's a wealth of settings in that. You can go and you can configure so much stuff. It ran well. It was awesome. Talos Principle 2 is Unreal Engine 4 or 5. I don't remember which. So now it's just the Unreal Engine settings with the Unreal Engine options that are, in some cases, very, like, what is this? Like, what does it actually mean low here? Is that off? Is that actually just turned down to the lowest level? I don't know. And also, the game didn't necessarily look or run all that well. I mean, I remember towards the beginning, I still remember going up in an elevator. I just kept going up and down that elevator because of the ghosting, and there was nothing I could do to get rid of it. No, there was no AI, none of the anti-aliasing settings that would get rid of it. Not completely. It was still there. There were other spots where I could still see this, and it was so annoying. What was I? There was nothing I could do about it. Just realized. So, nope. Okay. No baby goats. And just that was greatly annoying to me because I really liked Crow Engine. They abandoned it for one reason or another. It's like I can't criticize somebody for abandoning it. I'm just criticizing the situation, the industry itself for abandoning this stuff. That's true in theory. This could flood. Which, if that's the case, in theory, where are the wells? Ah, wooden well. Okay. In theory, I would put it there. And then that can be used to get water out. If it were to flood. I think a better option would be to just like put down a moat or something so that it can drain into that. which is not a horrible idea, because, I mean, I got these 3 here, that I could just do it there. Like that. Because that's something I can also replicate elsewhere. Those. Let me look at this. Alright. Yeah, that person coming in had, like, nothing. But, yeah, and just... how many skill trees are basically the same thing? How many settings just something? Unreal, going back to the... Unreal Engine and Unity, they're both, deferred rendering engines. And because of the focus on ray tracing, that's basically going to be the standard. Which also means then that we're not, like a temporal anti-aliasing methods are going to be dominant going forward. Because you can't... ray tracing doesn't really allow you to do anything else. Which sucks. So, the reason why is because to do something like a, this is birch, that's oak. And actually, there's a reason I do this. It's a good reason, too. And I also will, in case, I'll pull up the other place shortly. Because I do want to end this soon. Got oak. There. Okay. There. There. In order to do something like MSAA or SSAA, you need to increase the sampling rate. Okay? So that means that you have more samples to just measure what... to determine what... Hang on just a sec. Okay. So rasterization, which is like this game is using, it sends out a ray, and whatever it intersects, it samples and collects this data in what's called a fragment. Those fragments, the data from those fragments, are then fed into these shaders, which are what actually then figure out, okay, what is the, they do the math to figure out what the color is supposed to be. Alright? For something like multi-sampling or super-sampling, it increases the sampling rate, so it does more than one sample per pixel. There's more than one fragment per pixel. Ray tracing, however, is so expensive to do that you can't increase, you're not going to be able to increase the number of rays. And to help explain that, I once saw somewhere that the minimum to start getting photorealistic images from ray tracing is 250 rays per pixel. Now, true, they have been improving this. AMD, NVIDIA, Intel, they've all been improving the number of rays that they could do per pixel. But at one point, we were talking about Metro Exodus. 1 ray per pixel was the highest settings and basically broke the performance of the game. Okay? That was too much. Now, true, that was quite a while ago, but this is why things like DLSS have been worked on. because you can't actually is there? No, I can't. Because, well, technically it's not the drawing of the rays, it's the shading, because there's so much more data then. That's where it gets really expensive. But this is why things like DLSS were created by NVIDIA, because they knew ray tracing cannot be achieved real time. So even today, I'll bet that if you did, that people that know this stuff a hell of a lot better than me, if you really asked them, they would say that, yeah, we can't do it. We need we need something like DLSS. We need something like we need advanced denoisers, which is where they go. Which is what actually, because that's not enough data. And it's like, okay, we're just gonna guess what the data is between these two rays, and work with that. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here, and we can look at the other one. Oh yeah, that's actually true. Okay, is there any? Guess not. Like there's no symbols I can use. I find that odd and annoying. Okay, so that back to the main menu. Yeah, so it's all basically a lot of just magic settings. Yeah, that's how long it's been since I was last doing this. Wow. Because ray tracing, you just can't have enough data. Because of the heavy push, I'm not even sure. Does Unreal Engine 5 even support multi-sampling? Because that you can do with rasterization. Rasterization is cheap. Like, increasing the sampling rate is easy in rasterization. It's very cheap. It's the shading that gets tricky, but that's why multi-sampling is really nice, because it's very intelligent as to where, when it does use more than one sample, more than one fragment, to, when it uses more than one fragment to feed into the, Are you gonna pop any more achievements? Yep. I keep getting distracted. Whether it will use more than one fragment to shade a given pixel. Okay. Yeah, so this is what I have here, and I do kind of like a lot of it. Okay, let's... There. Let's see what else there is here. Steel, I don't think has much use, because this is another peaceful one, so none of the weapons are needed. Or defensive structures. Potentially entertainment will be useful. Library structures might also be. I don't have enough books for it, that's kind of funny. Okay. Alright, where did I put... I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Although that's true. Hey, edit. So you can actually select now who you want to do this stuff specifically. Which is kind of neat, but here, let's just do it this way instead. Be at least 10. How do you paste? You can copy, but how do you paste? Is it just okay? Like that? I'm not sure I like that. Okay, well that already is 15 up, so 25 and up. Okay, I'm good with just leaving it at that then. But yes, it is just compromises are having been made for ray tracing, and those compromises are being applied out to games that don't use and don't need ray tracing if they're still using like Unreal Engine or Unity. At least that's what it seems to be for me. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem I'm wrong. And it just... the laziness this is enabling is a problem. And it's going to continue to be a problem. DLSS 5 is a result. It naturally follows from this problem. Yeah. I mean, it really is just that. It naturally follows from this problem. So, to me, DLSS not at all surprising. Not in the least. So hopefully what will happen is enough people, both gamers and developers, are going to get pissed at this that there will end up not ultimately being a thing. That it will be still launched, but meaningless. No one will want to turn it on. No one will want to use it. Do you see why I say that this needs to be overhauled? I mean, look at the mess that this is. It's also, notice how if it's not... this is a major issue, actually, because I'm scrolling right now. I'm scrolling, but because I'm not over one of the things you interact with, it doesn't move. I have to be over here, and even then, if it falls... yeah, this is... So I want to be stopping. I really do. And I'm just thinking, what do I want to say here? Yeah. Let me finish with the DLSS 5 point. Ideally, this is what will happen. This would be my idea. Developers are going to say, no, we're not using this. The majority of them. Not all. And that's fine. But I mean that it is basically going to be dead on arrival for the most part. Or on life support on arrival. Let's put it that way. Because if a developer wants to use it, fine. I just don't want it to be the majority. We're talking about my idea. But so the majority of developers say no. The majority of gamers say no. NVIDIA has a flop here on this tech. But because of how it has provoked the situation, what then happens from that is you see a push against DLSS in general. You see a push against FSR in general. You see a push against XeSS in general. Okay? They say, no, we don't want this stuff that's changing the images. We want the artist at the developer just making the art. Personally, if they want to use AI in their process, I don't care. If it saves them time so they can put out to better quality overall because they have less time they're spending on one step, more time they can spend in another, I'm fine with that. Okay? If it's a tool, I'm fine with it. If it's substituting their work, that's where I have the problem. Okay? That's where I have the problem. But it's like, where the gaming community just turns and says, no, we don't want this stuff. Start giving us optimized games. Start, optimize like they used to be. Spend the time. Now, true, that's going to take actual engineers. And that I have a feeling is part of the problem. Is that a lot of these developers don't have true engineers anymore. Or they're being overworked, such that they can't do the underlying stuff. They can't do the optimizations. Because it's all about design. It's not about development, I guess is one way to put it. Or all about design, not about engineering. And that change, we now know the people that know the tech, that can get in there and really, really improve it, that they get in there and start doing that. I want to see that become the norm again. And then you see various things fade away. Hopefully a push back to rasterization as well, away from ray tracing, because I'm sorry, it's a flop. How's that not? So many games I've played, I'll turn on ray tracing and say, yeah, ray traced shadows, wire fixed shadows. Like, now true, this is an older game, but Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Turn on ray tracing in that. It moves the shadows cast by the sun. The game doesn't have a day-night system. The sun never moves. You can have the sun-based shadows at 1,000,000 rays per pixel. in them because they can be baked into the game. Why do they move? They should not be. That tells me it's all fake. Okay? That tells me it's fake. And then also in Dying Light 2, which is probably the most recent game I played that I... Oh, wait, no, there was ray tracing in Talos Principle 2 as well, but I didn't explore that too much, I think. Dying Light 2, I definitely explored it. And I turned things on, like ray traced reflections, and what happens? I see the same artifacting of screen space reflections. So apparently it isn't really doing anything. And stuff like that, where it's like, it's... The way I put it before, and I'll put it again and again and again. Ray tracing is meant to be a simulation of reality. Rasterization is an approximation. It was a damn good approximation, though. We got that stuff dialed in so well in so many games. And it performed very well. So it still would look very good and give you great performance. Then ray tracing comes in. It's supposed to be a simulation. It doesn't look better. You've got inaccuracies like Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You've got inaccuracies like Dying Light 2. With as I said, the reflections were wrong. Also in The Witcher 3, when they added ray tracing there, I was seeing the same thing where once it's outside of screen space, it's not in the reflection anymore. Ray tracing is supposed to not do that. Look at Hitman 2, I think it was. They actually, and that's fully rasterized, they have non-screen space reflections that were actually performing very well. They didn't cripple performance, and they looked good. We solved these problems already in a different system that gave us great performance. And now it's, let's abandon that, go to this other technology that cripples performance and isn't actually looking better. DLSS 5 is like even more of this, except it's not, well, potentially it's not crippling performance. I don't know. I was seeing some people claiming that it was taking like multiple GPUs to do that. I don't know. And it's also, it doesn't launch into the fall. There's going to be performance optimizations before that, but it's just like, it's still whatever there. It's like, just give me the good graphics that you were capable of giving us a decade ago. Okay? And legitimately, a decade ago, the graphics were still good. They were good enough. We didn't need it to be changed. I don't know what the future is for this industry. Because previously, it would swing back and forth between very well optimized and very poorly optimized. Part of that would have been set because of the consoles. Because later on in console's life cycle, you have to optimize if you want better graphics. Because the net performance, the raw performance, was fixed for those years. That is still the case, but I don't know how much console dominates anymore, how much that weighs on things anymore. And again, we have these magic buttons that can just, whoops, now we've got so much more performance, though in some cases it's fake, and in all cases, the image quality is going to be poor. Because it's not relying on ground truth, it's relying on hallucinating images. So no matter what, I can say that DLSS, FSR, XeSS, the image quality is poorer because it is not a representation of the ground truth. If you rendered it and just let it take as much time as it needed to render, but at identical settings, so so you're not getting we're guessing with the super sampling stuff. We're guessing at the how to do the anti-aliasing there with the filtering there. It's like, no, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's not what the trained neural net is saying it should look like. It's always a change to me that's it cannot be like better than original. No, it can't be. It goes back to the analogy I used for a book. Somebody else editing my book, somebody else putting in annotations. That's not better than what I did, right? Than what I wrote, because I wrote my intention. You cannot claim that by you changing it, you are maintaining my intention. Only I gave it the intention that it has. You cannot touch that and claim it's any better. You might try to explain things. Maybe I'd be like, hey, that's actually a nice explanation. But that doesn't mean that you can claim that that's better than the original. You cannot claim that. So yeah, it just... I don't know where it's going. I am hoping it will swing back towards hey, let's actually have this stuff run well and look good without the magic buttons. But it's going to take such a shift Because you'll have to get engineers back in there doing this stuff. Getting in there, getting dirty. And also designers that don't just think, well, we'll just use the tech tree that the engine gives us. But saying, you know what, no, I want to do a tech tree differently. Because we used to have tech trees that were different. Like one game that I played when I was younger, and this is definitely I'm old enough to remember this, Pax Imperia. You could just have technology be randomly discovered. You had 5 different tech trees that were all run in parallel, and not only that, but you could also prioritize. So you could say, hey, focus just on the navigation tech. The military tech, I've not encountered anyone yet. Don't worry, don't put any research into that at all. It was awesome. You could also steal technologies from your enemies. It was awesome. It was great. I can't think of a single modern game that does that. That has even just the 5 parallel tech trees alone. It's like I haven't touched it for a while, but Dyson Sphere program I've got. Yeah, that has multiple tech trees, but they are in sequence. So you can only focus on that thing, on the tech tree for like the offensive but building capabilities of your robot, or you can work on the tech tree that's for building a specific kind of building. And you have to wait in queue. Pax Imperia, nope, all in parallel. It was awesome. But we lost that, and I think it's in part because not just that people forgot that we could do that before, but I think they don't even think about it anymore. It's just hey, this is what the game offers. This is what the game engine offers us. We'll just use that. Won't try to invent more. Won't try to improve upon that. No. Nope. Last week, I think, was Stardock announced that they are getting into publishing. Well, publishing for games besides what they and their partners do. You know what would be awesome for Stardock to do as well? Because Pax Imperia is right up their alley. That is completely their kind of game. It would be awesome if they found out who owned it. And were like, we want to buy the rights to that so that we can make a remaster. But do a true remaster to it. Where we're not changing the technology. Improve some stuff, yeah. But not changing. So you keep that tech tree there. Because I bet that, or if somebody else would do that and get Stardock to publish it. I think that it would be hilarious to me, because I do believe if that happened, even keeping the majority of the stuff like it is in the original game, maybe adding some more, maybe tweaking some stuff, but I could believe that if you did that and you put that out today, you would have some people praising it as, oh my god, this is so innovative. It's like, this is amazing. Other games should start doing this, and I'd be able to just rest back and laugh at the fact that this is like a 25-year-old game. And you're saying it's innovative. I mean, but the reality is, today, it is. We have forgotten so much. We have regressed in certain ways. Now, I will grant, sometimes those regressions are good, okay? And what I mean by that is, sometimes in older games, you did see things that were so different. I mean, it's kind of the idea of survival of the fittest. That you eventually saw some mechanics, some features die away just because you didn't see enough people liking them. But I do also think that today they have not just been naturally selected, they've been artificially selected, where that's not how the engine does it, and everybody's just going with the engine, as opposed to, hey, this is really neat, and it makes sense for us. I mean, it's a 4X game. Why would you not be able to have multiple projects be researched at the same time? In going back to Dyson Sphere program, or Dyson Sphere project, whichever the P is, there's multiple facilities that can do research, right? I'm like, why can't you just have multiple facilities doing that so you can queue and have multiple being researched in parallel? It's very, very weird, some of that. And it just, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, but maybe we'll get back to it. And if not, maybe we'll just start seeing... I don't think I am suited for doing video game streams. Sorry. But somebody, like, imagine somebody who's more popular, or just has a personality that would support video game streams, would decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to look at some of these older games and do one on Pax Imperia. I do think you would have a lot of people look at them and be like, why don't we have this anymore? This is awesome. Because it's also like how it managed planetary colonies, I think, was great because it has good depth, but it's not overwhelming. There are ways that you could do things to improve that, to tweak that, I think, to make it better for today. But it just... so much stuff has been lost, and I think it's lost not because people have forgotten it, but it's still there. It's still there. And I think we need to find that. And DLSS 5, I think, maybe past a line for enough people that you might start seeing a turn towards more of the original graphics, and maybe that'll also start swinging people in a way to start thinking about original designs as well. And we may get a Pax Imperia type game again. Anyway, quite a ramble there, and I do want to still give Going Medieval a kind of review. So it cannot be a recommendation. It cannot be. They would have needed to change the job system. They did not. So no, it's at best a failure to recommend, positively flavored failure to recommend. Would I even do that? I'm thinking. Benefit of the doubt, I'm giving a straight failure to recommend. Because obviously I've only put about another hour into a fresh game, so I've not seen what endgame is like. But I do know what some of it is, because some of it is mentioned. But it's like, I've got that settlement that we were just looking at, the old one. And it's like, part of the reason I stopped playing that is, what left did I have to do? I would need a massive population explosion to make it worth building out the agriculture. Yes, I've got combat turned off. It's a peaceful run, so I don't have that. But it's still, it's like, I don't necessarily see how I need that. It just... and I'm not somebody who goes in and builds out artsy things. So it's just... benefit of the doubt that there's stuff that I haven't experienced that would make it fun for me, or at least more interesting, would be straight fail to recommend. But the jobs thing is just, that's so frustrating. I actually want to give this... yeah, I'm not recommending against it, but I think a minus, the -1 category, which is negatively flavored failure to recommend. I think that's actually probably the most, what I would ultimately be at if I spent another 10, 20 hours in this game. And yeah, I mean, so much of it is just the job system. And that's been poisoned for me, yeah, because it's been... this is episode 117, okay? And I had more time in the game before that when I did the preview review. And also, I think the early access review as well. I don't think I started doing this until after the early access review. And the job system has always been lousy. So that's been poisoned, because I've been saying for so long, they need to change it, and I was describing out ways to change it, not changed. And it's not just they didn't do what I wanted them to do. It's not that. This is a flawed system. It's a lousy system. I wanted it improved. I had ideas for how to improve it. It didn't need to be my ideas. I just wanted the improvement. And it's not there. It's not there. And the job system is so central to how it works, to how this game functions. That's enough for me to turn it down, to go to negatively flavored. But no, I won't say recommend against. I won't say recommend against. Because there's still... I can see people... okay. Part because of the book review. I mentioned I've been doing book reviews. That has helped me come up with specific descriptors for, like, recommend against, fail to recommend, and recommend. For recommend against, it's what do I consider a waste of time? I would not consider playing this game a waste of time. I genuinely would not. I'm frustrated with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm very frustrated with that job system. But I can absolutely believe that there are plenty of people out there that the idea of opening this game up and putting in 1 or 2 hours a day, and it stays small enough that the job system isn't crazy, isn't frustrating enough for them. They get far enough. They maybe don't go all the way to the end game, but it's like, yeah, this settlement is stable. I'm going to stop now and start up a new settlement. And just, they do that. I think that they can have plenty of fun. For them. For me, I can't. No. No, I can't. But it's I can definitely see that. So I cannot recommend against. I do think it is there's potential for fun there, but it's not for me at all. I've got too many of these technical issues that it has to be failed to recommend and specifically pushed to negatively flavored. So that sucks. I'm sorry, it always sucks when you can't say, yes, go play this game. It always sucks when that's the case. But at least it genuinely is not in a place where I'd say avoid it. Like, it's just a failure to recommend, but yeah. Negatively flavored, but still failure to recommend. Alright. That has been more than... Because didn't I stop? Actually, I've been talking for like just half an hour. I will see you next week. Because I, at this point, have no intention of actually doing a written review for this, I'm sorry, it just... If the job system were changed, then yes. But it hasn't been. The other stuff is nice. Like, we got quality of life changes, basically. I wanted some more substantive changes than that. So, because the job system, that would be a very substantive change, I think. So yeah, I don't want to continue in this. So next week, I will be back in Titan West 2. Which I have been enjoying more. Alright. See you next time.